Thank you to everyone who reached out to check on me and see how I'm doing. Just wanted to give you an update, how things are going. The last video I did was really kind of a wake-up call. You know, we all know what it's like when we were trying to talk to our family and friends about all the Mandela affected stuff, and then with the COVID, you know, other people, not affected people, were on the channel watching it. And you know, it's one thing to have that group of people, you know, question or, you know, not believe something, but when it was our own people, that was a little bit really too much. So I'm going to put a little piece of video out. I realized that when I put out that smoking gun video where one of our own, Once Upon a Timeline, said, yeah, too bad this isn't the smoking gun. Well, I don't know why we're all having such trouble communicating with each other or, you know, believing what each other's saying, but I realized I forgot to include a piece of video in that little clip, and I want you to see, because I live time have my cursor on the URL link that I'm going to access the website that I retrieved that information from regarding the diagnostic testing kits that all the world countries have been importing, exporting 2017, 2018, 2019. And I printed those out, Excel files, and showed everyone. But I didn't include the piece of video because it was in 4 different pieces, showing my cursor on the URL and holding the right arrow key going all the way through that entire long URL link, backdoor link that was set up to be able to access those files and print out. So, you know, anybody who's aware of that site and the products that were out, and the AP putting out news stories saying it was, you know, just a bunch of BS, you know, the YouTubers that were showing these videos, that is an absolute lie. And you're free to believe what you want, but it's getting really difficult to keep the motivation, I guess I'll say, to put out information that is inherently risky for me to put out to begin with. Just to be told by people, no, I think you're just misunderstanding, or I think, you know, whatever, especially by our own people. You know, actually, the first time that I had an incident with somebody in our own group was when I realized the currency on all of our bills was everything I had in my purse when I went to the mall and was going to straighten out all the, you know, 1s and 5s and whatever I had in my purse, and they were all 2000, I think they were all 2009, with the exception of a couple that were 2013 or something like that, but they were all the same year, and that is not how it was on my timeline. I had currency saved from every year. It's done differently than it is here, and I remember, you know, the biggest, you know, YouTuber back then who was going off on so many people, you know, saying, well, you don't know how it works, you don't know how it works. When I put that video out about the currency, it was Moneybags himself who said, yeah, no, it's never been that way. And I was literally so offended by him doing that when he was the one that kept telling everybody else that wasn't getting it. Yeah, so I stopped watching his videos, and this was like, I don't know, I just took it so personal when you know, Once Upon a Timeline said, yeah, too bad it's not the smoking gun, when in fact it is the smoking gun. You know, this disease outbreak pandemic wasn't even supposedly named by, according to the UN and the official, you know, WHO and CDC website. It was named CV-19 because it was supposedly discovered December of 2019. So there's no way that you can have data, import-export data, on these products being in huge numbers, astronomical numbers, products being imported and exported from just about every country on the globe, all the member countries of the world. So that was pretty disappointing, and I pretty much lost my motivation to do more videos. But I know that a lot of people have been asking, and it's been a really, really difficult time. Things are really not getting better. I work at a pharmacy, as you know, and we're one of the ones that the vaccine is coming to as part of phase 2 rollout. And they're going to be in our locations supposedly in April or May, but they could be here as early as March. And as you know, or most of you know, or some of you know, I don't even know, this is the biggest hoax and lie, and what they're doing with what's rolling out is really very dangerous, and I will not be giving it to anybody. I will not be taking it, no matter what, and I do mean no matter what. So, regarding the masks, it got to be an issue at the store that I was at, not with my own boss because we rarely see our district managers, but I wouldn't, we were mandated to wear a mask a long time ago, and I couldn't bring myself to do it because I don't want to perpetuate the lie that's out there, especially I really don't appreciate them using my position to say, hey, look, yeah, I'm a healthcare professional. I'm a doctor. I have a doctor behind my name, and I'm wearing a mask, so there must be a problem, and you need to wear a mask too. The masks do not stop viral particles, and I don't want to be perpetuating the lie. So I would never wear one. But the store manager, because I worked in a pharmacy within a store, a grocery store chain, and the store manager, who was not in the pharmacy side of things, would occasionally come over and tell me to put my mask on, and she'd walk off thinking I would, and I couldn't do it, wouldn't do it. And so finally one day she came up and she was gonna make that day the day, and she had a couple other employees standing outside, to serve as witnesses, and she told me to put my mask on. And I'll tell you what, the weirdest thing came up and out of my stomach and out of my mouth, and I just looked at her and I said, I'll be calling my boss to let her know I'm giving my 2 weeks notice. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And didn't put it on. And so, yeah, that's great. And yeah, woohoo. But then about 3 days went by, and, the reality hit. What am I going to do? I don't even have my student loans paid off yet. I still owe I don't know, 40 or 45,000 on my student loans. And, I don't know what I'm going to do. So then one of my colleagues had gotten in touch with me and asked, did you really want to leave? Do you really want to do that? I'm like, well, no, I don't really want to, but, what am I going to do? She said, well, you really ought to call our boss's name and, before she takes you completely out of the system, and just see if you can be a floater, because that's what she was and she liked it. There's a couple stores north. Anyway, so I was thinking, yeah, well, maybe I will. So I thought, well, maybe I can get by some more time at a different location until I really run into issues and somebody pushes me there until the vaccine comes, because obviously the day the vaccine comes into the pharmacy, I'm done. I'm done in retail pharmacy. So that sucks. Talked to my boss, and there was a location that had just opened, but it was real far north. It was like an hour and 15 minutes. But I said, okay, well, if you'll just let me work, 2 days and a Sunday, I don't want to work Sabbath no more. I don't want to do it. And she's like, yeah, okay, just go. So I thought, well, dang, that worked out better than it could have, better than where I was at. So I was happy for a couple weeks. But when I got to the other location, I found out that the guy who was the manager, the pharmacy manager, who was my partner, man, was he a douchebag. Didn't really know it right up front and at first, even though a lot of the other pharmacists that had worked with him in the past really expressed their dislike of him. But I just kind of thought, he had some hard knocks, and, he's just compensating for things, but didn't think it was too bad. But there's stuff that, well, anyway, so I was there for not that long before I realized he was working 7 days a week on his days that he wasn't scheduled. When I was there, that meant he was there, and he was working off the clock on all those days just to keep up with the work for that location, because it's a really busy location. and that wasn't really working. Then our technician, the only one we had, he should have had more staff. It's this long story, but that was even going to be too much. So I told her I got to quit there, and I'm just going to go as a straight floater, just as needed. So I gave up all my benefits, gave up everything to just, whenever there might be somebody that called in sick or, needed to go out, that's all I could do, because, my focus is really on all this other stuff that's going on, and I really can't be in this world anyway, because it's literally killing me. And even if I wanted to, I know God is being very, very kind in the way he's helping me to get out, because even if I wanted to stay, he's like breaking my body down so bad and so fast, where I cannot work 12-hour shifts anymore, period, even if I wanted to. I'm really sore and not doing well. I don't feel well. So I know he's trying to help me transition and get out of there. And especially now when I know things are really going to be ramping up, he's going to have to get more forceful. So anyway, everybody ended up quitting at that store because it just got to be too much work. It was understaffed. And I mean, literally every staff member in that pharmacy quit at the same time. So then my boss asked if, please, can you just go back there and serve as the pharmacy manager interim till we can get new staff? Because if you don't have a pharmacy manager of record on record with the Board of Pharmacy, you got to shut the pharmacy down. That's just the way it is. And no district manager wants that. That never happens. So I had to do that. And that's killing me because, if it couldn't be done with 2 full-time pharmacists working and, one technician, and it wasn't cutting it, wasn't going to cut it with just floaters and me and an occasional cashier that was thrown in by the store. So I told her I was only going to be there a few weeks. And then now it's been probably a month and a half, and I'm dying. Not only physically, but how we all, I guess most of us, when we first kind of realized all the Mandela effect stuff, and a lot of us went through this massive anxiety just all the time, 24/7. Things seemed very urgent, anxiety all the time. Well, that's kind of, I'm feeling that because I know whatever's going to happen and whatever's coming and been in the works from the enemy here until it's go time and everybody sees everything and then it's going to be too late. I'm feeling that so badly. And some days are worse than others, where, literally some days are so bad, I just really don't think I'm going to make it through those days. And, sometimes just, I don't want to go there. But, and I've noticed too, one of the other things that's really been troubling is, if you remember, like, I don't really care what people think anymore, and didn't kind of from early on. So I would even ask a lot of the patients if I was ringing them up or whatever, and still kind of quiz a lot of people with the Mandela examples just to see how they answer, just to kind of gauge, what kind of percentage I thought of people were affected and whatever. And at the location that I'm at now, just hanging on there long enough until the vaccine rolls in and then I'm done. But I'm hanging as long as I can just to get another paycheck. But last week was a really weird week. And although I don't have time there, I decided just for the heck of it, the last hour I was there, anybody that I rang up, I would kind of ask 3 or 4 questions, like the Mandela examples, in a way that there is no way they would know what I'm asking or why I'm asking, but just working it in. And I was doing a good job at that. They had no clue. And I got a big surprise where, like, 5 people in a row, none of them answered the way I remembered or the way I would have answered. And before, I would say there was at least a half and half, maybe. And sometimes, in the very beginning, maybe even more. But there was nobody. Nobody answered the way, I knew anymore. And that was really scary and sad. And my hour and 15-minute drive home at night late, actually was like, crying like, I don't know, a third of the way back, just because it just felt so surreal, kind of like it did in the beginning, it just felt like nobody here was from where I was from. And it felt like the divide had gotten, bigger or worse or, more complete, I guess I'd say. And, if I didn't know what this was, I'd really be in bad shape. But I know what it is, and a lot of people have figured out what it is. So all the videos, if you come across where they're, saying, well, nobody knows what this is, and then they'll talk about something, that is not true. I talk to a lot of people, and there are a lot of people who know exactly what I know. The catch-22 is that you can't know it or, have it revealed to you until you do something first. And I've been wondering if part of the reason, I've had difficulty making videos for a long time is because there's a lot of stuff I found and a lot of stuff I know and a lot of stuff I want to share with everybody. But it's almost like my mouth is being shut by this unmotivation, I'm too exhausted to do it. I'm too unmotivated to do it because, my videos are just going to be shadow banned anyway. Hardly anybody sees my videos anymore because they're being blocked so bad. Back in the beginning when I was talking about, all the new age stuff and about, all this, man, yeah, sure. I had 500,000 views on my first videos, had 250,000 views on my other ones. But the minute I said God and Jesus and end day, the second I said that, my videos were done. So hardly anybody finds them, sees them. And that's pretty disappointing. It's like, you're talking to nobody. Nobody can hear you, which I know you guys know what that's like. But it's been really, really, really rough, and I don't know what to do. And I know we're getting closer to whatever's coming. I think probably by now, maybe a lot of us realize that even among, us that are in the Mandela affected group, that we all seem to maybe have a little bit of a different gift or grace. And I think I'm starting to know what mine is. And I know for some other people, they've got some pretty cool ones. So I know, we're in training for what's coming. And a lot of you probably have some suspicions about, what's going to happen here or what's going to happen to you here. There's just so much in the Bible I wish I could share with everybody, but I'm so exhausted. But if you know what I know, you'll know how incredibly great God is in getting things to you that you need, that you're really seeking for, and He finds ways to get those to you. Even in the times when you're like I'm on one of my other drive home from this long pharmacy that's far away. When you're really down and you start like really not wanting to be here and you're, doubting this and that again. I had the craziest thing that happened where on my phone there was a ding and I looked and it was a REMA that popped up on my phone and I read it and I was so happy for the next several days. I couldn't have been down. And essentially the message was, I don't remember verbatim, but it was like, you've lost some of the graces I've given you from being too worried in the world about being deceived. I am who I told you I am, and I even gave you a sign so that you will know it's me. and this great peace, this feeling of peace that nobody can provide but me. And immediately my mind went back to one of the first videos I did. If you remember, I talked about in how I came here or whatever, that there were two really big things that happened to me. And one of them was that night that I was sleeping and, somebody did something to my forehead and I went down kind of in slow motion, saw a really, really bright sun ray light, and then I felt this peace, this indescribable, overwhelming peace that was just so good that I knew I'd never feel again until I got to heaven, if I'm lucky enough to go to heaven. I mean, there was just no way you could have any concern or feel bad about any person, any problem, any situation. It was just sublime, supreme peace. And immediately that was what was given to me. And that was a really good confirmation at a time that I needed it. There's been a few incredible confirmations that I've gotten from God. Like I said, I just wish I could tell you so many things out of the Bible. And another thing that I popped into my head and I tried is, you remember in different ages, or especially the early ages, that God used to talk to his people in different ways. He used to talk through the Mazzaroth, so people could interpret things through the Mazzaroth, which is not astrology, but the whole story differently. He used to talk through the Urim and Thummim, like the breastplate stones, or the stones that would light up or not light up and give direction. You remember he would, guide people, especially in the wilderness and the Exodus, which is exactly where we are. A cloud by the day, pretty weird clouds, smart clouds maybe, or, a pillar of fire by night. These, bright orange and red, just freaky skies that some of us see. All right, my battery is running dead. I have no more juice, so I'm going to have to try to do this again later. Hopefully it'll be a lot easier. Anyway, look for the other video where I redo the smoking gun and take a look at it, because you got to know the truth. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.